Philippines. Officially known as the Republic of the Philippines, is a sovereign state in Southeast Asia in the Western Pacific Ocean. With 7,107 islands, it is a country filled with the beauty of its history, religion, and culture. But it is also a country filled with poverty and corruption. There are more than 92 million people populating the country, and it has been ranked as the 12th most populated country in the world. 12 million of those live overseas, and they are officially known as OFWs, or Overseas Filipino Workers. But what are their primary reasons for going abroad? Is it to experience something new? To get a taste of the good life? Or is it to get away from a life of hardship and poverty? More than 1 million Filipinos every year live to work abroad through overseas employment agencies such as the NHS Trust in the UK and other programs including government-sponsored initiatives. Others emigrate and become permanent residents of other countries. Overseas Filipinos choose to work as nurses, carers, and domestics, but they also choose to work from a wider range of jobs, such as entertainers and seafaring engineers. There are now an estimated 200,000 OFWs in the UK. In the early noughties, the NHS came to the Philippines to hire nurses due to shortage of staff in the UK. Over 5,000 Filipino nurses applied to get the chance to go abroad. Only 50 made it through the grueling days of interviews and medical examinations. Today, we meet two of them from the Isle of Wight that were lucky enough to be chosen.
I'm working as a staff nurse in mental health in Shackleton for elderly dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's. I arrived in November 21st, 2001, together with other 42 nurses coming from the Philippines recruited by the NHS. I've been living in the UK for nearly 11 years. My reason for coming to the country is that, I can't support my sons going to the university, and the living in, the lifestyle in the Philippines is really bad. So I'm working with the Philippine Army for 18 years, but still I can't afford to send my children to school with so many children, with the kind of money I'm getting from the government. So I decided to come over to the country, applied for it, and then luckily I was taken to work with the other nurses. I'll be quite honest with you. My reason really is that my husband left us for 3 years, and I really don't know where he was. My life back in the Philippines is really, really hard. The poverty and everything. Just imagine I have to go to work. I'm doing nights, and then I have to leave the kids on their own, which my youngest is only 4 years old, and my oldest probably will be about 14. And then during Christmas time, and then sometimes New Year's time, I have to take my children with me at work. I have no choice really but to take my children with me at work, because I can't leave the children while celebrating the festive season on their own. So sometimes I have to take the 4 of them with me, take the taxi, and then work while the children is in one room. So yeah, it's not really good working in there if you're a single parent, and then you have to work full time. So I want to give the best for my children. That's the reason why I apply here really. My son, my youngest, developed this disease which is called the Pertus disease, and he had 6 major operations already. And then probably that's one reason why the good Lord, or luck started to come with me. Because probably if we're still in the Philippines at the moment, my son will end up in a wheelchair. And then luckily in here, he is being supported by the NHS and everything. What do I feel about this country? Yeah, it's quite okay, because my only problem in here is that the weather really, because in the Philippines it's a warm country and we only have 2 kinds of weather, and then getting old, the cold weather is really getting too much for me. But then this country, I have quite lots of friends here, and then I have good colleagues in my work at the moment. But then to start with, I didn't quite like enjoying working at the main hospital. I've been moving all over the place because I think at that moment, Filipino nurses are not being accepted very well yet. And then I'm not going to say I'm being bullied, but then there's a few that at the moment is not very nice to me, really. But then the country is quite nice. I have many friends there, and the only thing I like in here is it's so quiet and so peaceful. And then the island is quite good for the kids because it's a safe place for them, really. You can leave the kids in here. And then, and I still have my Filipino nurses here, my friends. I do miss my old life in the Philippines because you have your relatives, you have your families there, and then you miss your colleagues and everything. And then, but then I can easily say that this country coming over to UK gave us a better life. Not only for me, but for my children, for my other co-nurses who's got their family here. It's really much better. And then, yeah, no regrets, really.
I'm a staff nurse in St. Mary's Hospital. I've been here over 11 years, as far as I remember. I arrived here 2001 November. The reasons coming over here in this country is to enhance my career, to meet other people, different language, different culture, financial, problem as well, to help the family back home. My life back in the Philippines, it's just a simple and happy working in the hospital as well, and a good daughter and a good sister and aunt with all my nieces and nephews. Every year, if there's a chance, I go back to the Philippines for a holiday to visit my family, friends, and other relatives, and to see some places back home as well. It's a lot of big difference living in the UK and living in the Philippines. First is the weather. Since our country is a tropical country, we don't have winter, we don't have autumn. It's just only wet and dry. The culture, the traditions, and some social life. It's a lot of big difference, having a social life back home and here in this country. I do miss my old life in the Philippines, but since my kids live here and they have their friends, I have a new friends, my job is here, and I'm settling down little by little, still trying to understand other, culture, but I don't mind staying more years in this country. Working in this country as a stranger, you cannot please everybody. People say that we are taking all the jobs in this country. It's it's their decision. It's their opinions. But not all people understand why Filipinos are working abroad. Because during the time when NHS was short of staff, that's the time that they hire Filipino nurses back home. So it's a big opportunity for us to work in this country.
But they are not the only ones who've had to go through changes in their lives. Meet Michael, one of Arianne Legaspi's children, who moved here 10 years ago and has not looked back since.
I'm a community social care worker. I've been living in England roughly about 10, 11 years, give or take. My mom immigrated to England to work as a staff nurse for the NHS, and I was in the university, and I was given the impression that I was going to be living in London. So I was like really excited, so I said, yeah, go for it. But by the time I came here, I ended up living here in the Isle of Wight, so there you go. Life for me back in the Philippines was really hard because, well, we were not at the bottom of the pile, but we were what you can say a middle class family, and growing up, in a middle class family in the Philippines is, well, for me was very hard. We don't even have running tap water in our house, and basically the way people live in the Philippines is you're gonna have to work to eat. So my mom is constantly at work, so I have to divide my time between school and looking after my siblings. So yeah, it's pretty rough. All I seem to do here is work, really. Yeah, I mean, you get the occasional chance to sort of, like, see your friends, but we all came here to work in the end of the day. So yeah, money's easier, but social life wise, I mean, no, it's not any better really. I do like England in a sense, where we live's fairly quiet, and I sort of like grew accustomed to it really. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have much to say about that. I just carry on really. It's pretty much all right. To start with, I mean, you wouldn't have needed us if if you're really eager to work. So you can't really judge us by coming here because to start with, for example, my mom, the NHS actually came to the Philippines because of, you lack nurses at the time. So it's not like, the circumstances are different the way how we came into the country and a lot of illegal immigrants came to the country. So in my point of view, I've earned, my family, my mom, me especially, I've earned my right to be here.
There are other ways to enter the country. Others apply to be students, and others come here as tourists. The minority of these people stay in this country illegally by breaking the law. They overstay their limits and get jobs to support themselves. But others come here out of love. We meet two women who met and married their British husbands and were prepared to leave their old lives for a new one in the UK.
I'm enrolled in Open University I'm not working basically, to get my master's degree. I visited the UK in 1994 with my family. I moved here in 1996. Yeah. It's all about the children because they go to the university. And as we all know, compared to the country where I came from, education is a lot better here. So we moved back here in 2003 to send off my eldest son, Genesis, to school in this country. We all know there are an age gap of other Asian and British guy that lives here, but between me and my husband is different because there's not much age gap, though he looks older than me, but nah. I've met him back in the Philippines. He was one of the supervisor of the company that's joint venture from here in Isle of Wight, which is called FBM, joint venture, the Philippine company. And I was one of the, I worked for Vienna Cafe, which is, we holds events, and their company was my account, and that's how we first met. I used to say I was never going to marry a foreigner, or I'm never going to marry, a European or any Caucasian, but yeah, I end up with one. Back home, I have a career. Here I'm a mom, but I wouldn't change it for the world because it gave me a chance to be a mother for my two boys, which I've never been for the past 10 years of my life back home. So yeah, it's a big difference. It's nice, honestly. I mean, I've met a lot of wonderful people, but talking about leaving or growing old, yeah, going back to the Philippines.
I'm working in St. Mary Hospital as a cleanliness assistant. I met my husband in Saudi Arabia because I was working there as a same job in a hospital as a cleanliness assistant, and then we meet. I'm become widow before, so I married him again. The British man is they are more broad-minded. It's not like most of Filipino, of course, they get a culture. It's better than before because I got a job here, and then I have a money to spend it. It's not like when I was there, the job is not easy. And then, especially if you got family, so it's a hard life. I have more freedom here, and then I have more freedom in what I want to do, and then I'm more prepared to live here. it's better to move here. If I could bring all my family here, I will bring it. For the Filipino like me, I think if you got a chance to come and work here, yeah, you should grab it. Travel to the poor country and you find out what is life there, and it's not easy. It's not easy. So wherever you go in a poor country, they are all wants to go abroad, or it's not only here in England. It's not only here in UK. They all wants to go in any Europe or any country that it's better than their country.
We may never know the full extent of the reasons why the Filipinos decide to move abroad, but we now know why some have made this decision. Some have moved to get away from the harsh reality of life in the Philippines, some for love and others for new experiences. As a departing note, be kind to foreigners, because you never know, a life story may surprise you.